We've all done really stupid things during our childhood as young Pokemon trainers, like trying to catch a trainer's Pokemon or running away from shinies. Well, after playing Pokemon for over 2 decades, I've definitely had my fair share of doing those kinds of things, some of them actually being very costly. The earliest mistake I can remember as a child was my first ever shiny Pokemon encounter. My memory is very fuzzy with this one because I was probably about 5 years old when this happened, but I remember failing to catch a shiny Tentacool in Pokemon Ruby. I believe this was before I was even aware of what shiny Pokemon were, because I remember thinking it was a glitch or something. I was surfing along Route 122 near Mount Pyre when a Tentacool with the green orbs on it appeared. I can't remember if I didn't have any Pokeballs or just didn't care, if in fact I did think it was just a glitch. Anyways, I ran away from it, but the memory stuck with me as I got older. Eventually, I did learn exactly what shiny Pokemon were and how rare they are, and when I figured out Tentacool's shiny was actually green, I knew for sure I saw it. Also, the fact that Tentacool is the most common Pokemon you can surf for in Route 122 makes the possibility of my memory highly likely to have occurred. Dang it. The next, and possibly the worst mistake of this entire video, was the fact that my brother and I used to own Pokemon Box Ruby and Sapphire and sold it on eBay. From what I remember, we only sold it for around 50 bucks or so, which we thought was a lot for a boring storage system that wasn't really even a game. But yeah, this boring Pokemon storage system turned out to be the rarest GameCube game ever released in the United States, and it was exclusive from the Pokemon Center in New York and their online website, which my mom got it from. Looking at the last 2 recently sold on eBay, yeah, I don't know if I'll ever be able to own that game again. Dang it! Another stupid thing I did as a kid was selling the greatest Pokemon spin-off games of all time, Pokemon Colosseum and XD Gale of Darkness. I mean, come on, my brother and I played the heck out of these games, and as we got older, thought we would never play them again. What were we thinking? I remember we sold these games for $15 each to an old friend of mine, and I have no idea if he still has them, but come on, why would I do that? But this isn't even the worst of it, because I also had the limited edition Pokemon XD GameCube, because of course, one GameCube wasn't enough for my family to own. This console was so cool with Shadow Lugia printed on top, and it came bundled with the game. Later on, my family decided we didn't need 2 GameCubes, and once again we threw it on eBay and possibly just listed it as a regular GameCube, not knowing how exclusive it was. Dang it. If these Pokemon mistakes I made as a kid weren't bad enough yet, well, get ready for the next one. My brother and I were very fortunate to have awesome parents who knew we loved Pokemon, and in 2006 we were blessed enough to be taken to the Pokemon 10th anniversary event, which was held at a number of locations all around America. This was such an awesome event, and one of my absolute favorite childhood Pokemon memories. We got the exclusive event distributions, some merchandise, and participated in the video game tournament, which we got our butts kicked in, still being very young. Now, if you might have guessed it, at some point we reset our Pokemon save files with the original event Pokemon from the top 10 distribution. I know for sure I transferred a few of them up to Pokemon Black version, including Entei and Latias, but eventually wanted to reset Pokemon Black to play it again. Bye bye 10th anniversary Pokemon, you will always be missed. By the way, this Pokemon Black file pretty much had all my original Pokemon from Generations 3 and 4, including my first ever level 100 Pokemon, which was a Sharpedo from Pokemon Ruby. To this day, I'm still sad about that decision to wipe away my old Pokemon, but at least we're fortunate enough to have access to event distribution ROM files in which I can somewhat legitimately obtain these 10th anniversary Pokemon again on my original game cartridge. Thank you, Internet. Now, the last few Pokemon mistakes I made as a kid were still related to selling all kinds of old Pokemon games and merchandise when we started growing up. Between my brother and I, we have owned almost every single Pokemon game, including spin-offs from Generations 1 through 4. Not only that, we had the original e-reader with a number of original Pokemon e-reader cards that we eventually sold or got rid of in one way or another. I know for sure I'll also regret losing, breaking, or selling old Pokemon merchandise like pre-order bonus items and rare Pokemon cards, especially lots of EX cards from the old Gen 3 EX series. We also had a number of exclusive original Pokédolls which were from the original online Pokemon Center website. As a young Pokemon trainer, I must have just not realized the impact the series had on my entire childhood, and probably had no idea lots of these would become rare collector's items that were worth thousands of dollars nowadays. My love for the Pokemon franchise just never faded away like I thought it might have, and now here I am, with over 20 years of playing Pokemon, finally making videos on something that means so much to me. But, at the end of the day, the memories are what always remain, so it's okay if I don't have all my original games, merchandise, and my earliest Pokemon I trained as a child. Thank you all so much for watching, and feel free to let me know the dumbest mistakes you've made playing Pokemon. I'll see you guys in the next one.